Hey everyone, welcome back to Will's Small Engines. In today's video, we're going to be taking two broken weed whackers and making them into one functioning one because my current one just broke and I want a new one, or I want a better one. So in this video, we're gonna take my old one and a new one and a used one that I bought and Frankenstein them into one good unit. So without further ado, let's go. Also, if you're gonna do this, make sure that you get a model that's close enough to the one you wanna like change it up, or the one that you wanna like work on, because it's just easier with all the parts and stuff. So for what I did is I bought a similar weed whacker to the one that I had because I know how to work on it. It's easy to work on, and I'm only gonna need one tool to do this, one or two tools to do this. So without further ado, let's go. And yes, I caught that. So here are the weed whackers. So this one on the right here is my old one. And what the problem was that the housing, I'll get into more of that in a minute. The housing basically broke and I couldn't find a new housing for sale. So I ended up buying this one from an auction with another weed whacker as like a combo for $9 total. So if you're gonna do this, get one like cheap like that. And since I'm way too curious of a person, I wanted to see if it would run before the video. So literally all I had to do with it was put gas in it and it started on the first pull. So I guess it wouldn't be that good of a will it run video in the first place. So what I'm planning on doing is taking this engine and putting it on that shaft because I don't like these handlebars and I don't like that head. I like this head better and this shaft design more. So without further ado, let's get this engine off of here and swap it onto there. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about what went wrong with the old housing before we start swapping the engines. So this is the old recoil starter off my old trimmer, and what happened to me was the rope came out of here, and as you can see, it like goes out. It doesn't wind back in. And that's because, if you can see in here, I don't know how well you can see, but see how it looks all melted and stuff? Well, it is melted, and the reason it won't work is when this got melted in here, it like expanded it outwards, and is now binding up against this black pulley here. So it's basically shot. So yeah, can't use that anymore. Okay, so now we're gonna start the engine swap process. So the first thing we're gonna do is disconnect these wires off of the old engine because we're not gonna need them anymore. So there we go. The second thing we're gonna do, that leaks gas. Oh well, fix that later. Next thing we're gonna do is disconnect our throttle cable. So to do that, you're gonna have to grab onto the cable with your pliers and then push down on the throttle linkage with your finger and get the cable out of the little holder. Almost there, 1 second. Give me a second here to do this. Okay, so I got the throttle cable disconnected. Now what we're going to do is remove these two bolts here with this T25 screwdriver. Pretty simple. There's one. There's the other one. Now these two halves should come off of here like this. Now to set these up to the side. Next we're going to have to loosen this screw right here. And you can use the same screwdriver to do that. And once you've loosened it, the whole engine should be loose from the shaft. And you just pull out like that. And you're also going to have to remove the cable from the housing. And there we go. There's our engine. Now I'm going to drain the gas out of here real quick because it's making a mess. And then after I do that, we're going to install the engine onto that shaft. Alright you guys, so I actually ended up replacing just a few lines off camera. It's pretty simple. So now what we're going to do is install the engine onto the unit here. So make sure this is still loosened. So just slide this over this. Like this. You might have to rotate the head or something. Yeah, try rotating the head just to line it up in there. I'm gonna see if I can, let me spin the engine over too. Go like a little bit at a time. And that will just kind of help the cable get lined up. Or what you can do is put it on the ground like this. And spin the head up here. So it lines up and drops in like that. Now I'm gonna put this back on my workbench. And I'm gonna tighten up this clamp here. Nice and tight. Now I'm gonna get the two case halves, put them back on here, and be mindful of the cables under it. So for instance, the throttle cable on this one goes through this little housing, I'm pretty sure. No, it doesn't. So go like this here, line it up on top. It can be a little tricky sometimes, but now put the screws back in. Get this one. There we go. Now we're going to hook up the wires, so white to white, red to red, and then make sure it's nice and tight. Now we're going to hook up the throttle cable, so pull this, whoa, make sure it's pulled out all the way, if you can do that, and then stick it through the hole down here. And then I'm going to have to, you might have to realign the little hose in the back if yours has one for the air filter cover. And then to install the throttle cable in the carburetor, it's the same as before, just the opposite. So push down on the throttle and try to line up the cable in the little connector. Might take a few tries, but it's not that bad. And there we go. I'm gonna have to adjust mine because it's idling way too high. So I'll figure that out, and then we're gonna see if this thing runs. All right, guys, so now it's the moment we've all been waiting for, and let's just see if this Frankenstein machine here will work. So don't mind the missing air filter cover. I have one on order because the old one is kind of messed up. So let's see if it runs. I put some fresh gas in it, and I'm going to be changing the oil on this since it's a 4-stroke after I run it for a bit. So chokes on, full throttle. Sweet.